Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. My name is Hansel. I'm here with my bestie buddy Wayne. We wrote a book, which like this podcast is also called theCoderBros Go to White Castle. It's a book about our story, how we grew up Asian, how we became best friends, and how we found our White Castle. Only our metaphorical destination was not a fast food joint, but an awesome little business called the Coder School that we now run together. So we started this podcast to explore the stories of other super cool Asian Americans just like us, and how they found their own White Castle. Wayne, who do we have on the broadcast today?
Yes, our guest today comes from the University of Michigan. Go Blue. I always got to plug that university. I love it. Have a lot of affiliation there. She's built a great career in the broadcast media industry. In fact, she is a 24-time Emmy Award-winning anchor, reporter, and multimedia journalist. Please welcome Marcella Lee.
Anthony, I love the music.
Where's our sound guy? That was really loud. Excellent work, though, Wayne.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Hey.
Yeah. Thanks for being on, Marcella. I'm so excited to hear all the stuff that you do. I mean, we don't usually have somebody in the entertainment biz on here. But start us off. Tell us about what you are doing these days.
So I'm currently an evening news anchor here in San Diego for the CBS affiliate. I moved here back in 2004. So I've been here for 21 years. It's now 2025. So I just celebrated 2 decades here. Moved here for at the same station that I've been at for the last 2 decades. Came here for the weekend anchor job, and now I'm a Monday through Friday anchor. So it's been a nice.
You've been on TV for 20 years now?
Yeah, and before this, I worked at 5 other stations. So it's probably been, let's see, 35 years.
Wow. And so as I don't know if do they call it talent, like the person on the screen talking as that the whole time, or were you doing research behind the scenes as well? Yeah.
I also have done my share of producing behind the scenes and they call it field producing, where I go out and I collect all the interviews and I write the stories, and then someone else comes in and just reads it.
Have you ever been that one out in the street in a thunderstorm tornado, and you're just
you got all the gear on?
Man, I always give kudos to those out there. They're standing there. They could get hit by a telephone pole at any time. There's like a car flying by.
Yeah, we try to stay safe when we can, but I've been I've never lived anywhere with hurricanes, but I've been in plenty of blizzards, freezing temperatures, and out here in California, I've had to report on a lot of fires. Those are really scary because the embers can blow. And
have you had any close calls? Anything where slightly?
The fire was pretty scary. I reported back in 2007 the wildfires here, and the photographers are veterans, and so they were getting right up in there. And when we stayed,
you're like, well, let's not get this close.
I know we got pretty close. And at the time, that's where people are tuning in to see, is my cul-de-sac, is it up here? Is my home still standing? And we would go down the streets and just read off addresses because people couldn't get into the evacuation zones. And so we were their source of, did my home perish, or is there anything left standing? But it was a pretty tense few days here when I covered those wildfires in 2007, and then another batch in 2014, just very devastating. So
what's the sort of the emotional backstory of that? I mean, it's like you said, emotionally devastating. Do you need to separate it from when you're reporting?
I mean, I physically remember being in front of a home, and it was beautifully decorated, and the house next door was on fire. So this particular home was standing, and then an ember jumped to this house, and I watched it burn down.
Oh, wow.
There was nothing. The firefighters tried, and they couldn't keep it from going up in flames. And by the end of a few hours' time, that house had burned to the ground. And I just thought, if I had had a key or some way to go in and just grab some photo albums for the family. I mean, when you're watching a house burn down. And I had a coworker whose home burned down in 2007, and that was really devastating as he stood in front reporting on his own home burning down. That was a surreal moment for him. So,
but that shows kind of who you are, that's going on. And you had a thought that if I had a key, I would run in and save some of their photo albums. I would probably be like, I'm just glad I'm not near the house.
I'm out of here.
Because the thing is probably the roof's going to fall. I don't want to be inside. So,
and anytime we have the Santa Ana winds kick up, I mean, a lot of people do put signs in their home, like there's a dog inside or a pet inside. And we have had
Wow.
crews.
Oh, yeah.
Someone actually called me to go to their home and get a dog out of their yard. And we did that for them. It was
Wow.
it was a street that wasn't like their home wasn't actively burning, but maybe 1 block away was. So we were able to help get a dog out of the home. So it's
Wow.
pretty, yeah, it's pretty
Wow.
emotional.
Are
But
you still out in the field like that, or are you typically just in the studio now?
I'm mainly in the studio now. I still like to do stories and report, but I'm mainly tethered, anchored, like the word
Yeah.
anchor.
The
Is
anchor,
it is
yeah.
it two
So
very different sort of jobs? Like Anchor, do they just sort of give you here's what to say, Marcella, just go down this list. But
It
the other
is,
one, you do the research?
it is. We also read through all our scripts. I have a co-anchor who's also been at the station for 2 decades, and he
Mm.
also was out in the field. And I think that that's what gives us a little bit of, depth, is that we were out in the field as reporters back
Yeah.
in the day. So we have an understanding of what it's like to be out there and have been reporting from the different communities in San Diego. So I appreciate that I have that background, but it is different. It is different when you're reporting. Your report is pretty much all yours, and you get to decide which portions of the interview you want to use, what images,
Yeah.
with the help of your photojournalist. And when you're anchoring, you're more kind of like, in the mothership, kind of saying, this
Yeah.
we covered, let's go to this
It,
report, let's go to
is
this
it
report, let's go to
is
this
it
report.
less exciting if you're just anchoring and
No,
you're reading else?
I find them both
Yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah.
I like that
Okay.
at the end of our newscast, I know kind of what's happening across
everywhere,
the community.
right?
When I was a
You don't
reporter,
have to watch the news.
Well,
I only knew what was happening from my story in my isolated area on my one
Yeah.
topic. But now that I'm anchoring, I get to see all the good work that everyone else is
and
doing.
also, isn't it a little bit of a promotion to get to the anchor position, right? So
It
you're kind
was
of the quarterback, right?
it
Hmm.
was
Kind
an
of the
unexpected promotion. I actually thought about
Oh,
talking about this with you when I first got this
yeah.
job as the weekend anchor. I remember thinking there's no way ever, even if the main anchor retired, that they would ever promote someone who's
So,
Asian American to
That's
be
right.
the
Asian
main
and yeah,
anchor in
female. I
San
so
don't know.
Diego. San
So before
Diego.
we get into that story, so tell us a bit about, so weekend, is weekend sort of your entry level, that's sort of the lowest anchor thing you can get, and you try to get to the primetime one. Is that sort of the
Kind of.
hierarchy?
We have a morning team and we have
Okay.
a weekend team. And we used to be the Charger station. In fact, we still air
Ooh,
Chargers games, but when they were in San Diego. And so their weekend newscasts were heavily
right.
watched because we had big
Okay.
viewership on the weekends.
Okay.
So it still was an important position, but you're only anchoring the 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. And then I was reporting 3 days a week. So it was actually professionally a nice mix because I got to be out in the
Mm.
field and I got to sit at the desk. But I just never thought that I would ever be, when you talk about your White Castle, like I never even thought that that would be something I would ever be able to do
Hmm.
here.
Yeah.
Do you
And
think because there's a ceiling because of the Asian American side?
I just think that in television news in particular, it is appropriate to represent your community. And at the time when I moved here, I think San Diego County was, I think, about 8 to 10%, 10%
Yeah.
Oh,
Asian.
I
And in
see.
the last 21 years, though, it's grown to almost 17% and projected to continue growing. So we are making
Yeah.
up a larger part of the
Nice.
now. But at the time, I just remember thinking there's just no way to even, like, it wasn't even on my
Yeah.
list of things I wanted to
Yeah.
achieve because I just never thought it would be possible.
So it was a surprise. Your boss just kind
It
of came
was.
in and said, "Hey, do you want to, do the weekdays, that kind of thing?"
Well, my very good friend, who was the main anchor, Barbara Lee Edwards, she had a health uh, incident. She had a brain bleed, so it was very unexpected. We were all very scared. She took time
Mm.
off, and we all thought she would be coming back, but she made the decision to retire. And so there was the open position that I had been filling in for, and
Hmm.
I presumed that maybe the management would bring in other people to take over, but they gave me the job, which I was super grateful for
That's
and
amazing.
wasn't really.
Yeah. That's a humble way of saying you were effing awesome. That's
Yeah,
why they put you
exactly.
in that
You were
spot.
totally awesome. Yeah, you were killing it,
I
I'm
remember her
sure.
saying, you've been a part of this community for nearly 20 years. You're trusted, credible. Like, why wouldn't we promote? Because I was like, really? You want to give it to me?
Yeah.
So are you big enough to where like you're walking around the streets of San Diego and people will be like, "Hey, there she is, there's Marcella," that
I
kind
do
of
get
thing?
recognized a
Yeah.
lot by people our generation, older for sure, maybe a little bit younger, but the kids these days, like our kids' generation, they don't really watch local news anymore.
Right,
That's
that's
true.
true.
Like, what is
Reinvent
local news? That's not even the
reinvent the
media.
wheel. It's not like people come home every day and watch the 5 or 6 o'clock news or the 10 or 11 o'clock news because they can access news 24/7.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So
Huh.
we're kind of transitioning over to the streaming and trying to get on people's devices where they're watching content 24/7. But yeah, it is kind of fun. Sometimes I think, oh my gosh, you recognize me? Like I don't have makeup on. I look,
Right.
Yeah.
just work out.
Is
I'm in
it
the
weird?
grocery store.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you always feel like you have to be on and, look
I
good
don't.
and sound
No,
good?
I don't.
Oh,
I
that's
don't
good.
know.
Otherwise, that'd be really difficult
No,
just going
no,
out to get gas or something. Do they ask
Yeah.
for autographs or selfies now? It's
they
all
used
selfies, or
to. Now it's selfies. Yeah.
yeah, it's all
Yeah.
selfies now.
Once in a while, I'll have people write in. They'll send me like a self-addressed stamped envelope and say, "Can you
Ah, yeah,
signature?"
that's
Oh
right,
yeah.
right. That
That's
is
Thank
the
funny.
you.
go-to thing, right?
Have you gotten any like total wacky fans that are just like, "Hey, Marcella, I'm in love with you. I see you
Yeah,
on
ask you out on
TV,"
a
and
date.
yeah,
I mean, there
anything
are the
wacky like
ones
that?
that right from jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right from jail?
Yeah,
Okay.
we turn those over to the management just so there's like a record. But no, everyone's pretty nice,
That's
respectful,
funny.
and I've been pretty lucky.
Yeah, wow. Well, I mean, it's I mean, you're naturally good at it now, obviously, but was there a time when you first like came out of college, was it hard to be coming on screen the first time, super nervous? Or
I
were
had
you just personally
I
like
had
that all the
someone
time?
tell me once, "Oh, you're too nice. You'll
Hmm.
never make it as a
Yeah.
journalist, as a reporter. You're just too
Hmm.
nice." And I remember thinking, well, that's kind of mean to say.
Yeah.
But I would say through the years, yes, and yes, just being on TV live for the first time. I remember it was during the elections 1992.
Wow.
My first time on air. I was still in college, and
Yeah.
That's crazy.
they put me on the news in Lansing, Michigan. And I was so nervous because I was still an intern. I wasn't even employed, but they were just using everybody. And I was really nervous. And one of my mentors said, don't memorize anything. You know the topic, you know the content. Just talk as if you were talking to a friend. Because think about how many
Hmm.
times you stammer or you lose your thought when you talk to a friend. It's not often. You're just having a conversation like we are right now. And
Yeah.
that was the best piece of advice that one of the veteran reporters I worked with gave me. And so while you have talking points, I try never to memorize because if you're
Wow.
memorizing and you forget your place, you
Then
can't.
you're really screwed, right? Because
But
you're
if you
just
just kind
like,
of talk
Yeah.
about what it is
yeah.
you're doing, what it is you're seeing, what's happening around you, then it's just pretending that you're talking to your friends and
Oh,
not,
That's
that's
great.
smart.
yeah. So that really
So,
helped. But
so the
I
person
remember,
that told you that you were too nice, did you go back then and tell him to F off in a mean way and be
Yeah.
like, see, I'm
Screw
not
you.
too nice. Screw
well,
you.
I'm
it's
I'm not nice at
interesting
all.
because I do tend to have, I am nice. Like
You do seem very
I'm not like
nice.
an in your
Yeah.
face,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Right.
I
type
totally,
of
I,
reporter. That's not
to
my
his defense, you
style.
do seem super nice.
But I will say
So,
that through the years, I've gotten a number of exclusive interviews from, I mean, unfortunately, part of our job is reporting on pretty traumatic events.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember I left my business card and I think I left a voice. Well, probably at the time it wasn't a voicemail. At the time it was on the answering machine to a
Right.
family whose daughter, I think about them still today. And it probably was in 1995 or so. A family whose daughter, little 2-year old, died from drinking an Adwala. It was like unpasteurized
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
fruit drink.
And you
And
had to get a
whoa.
story from
they
them,
had E.
so you had to
coli.
call
And
them and
we always try to reach
oh.
out to the family. Sometimes people really want to talk
Hmm.
and and share their loved one's life and have there be, reach with a warning to other parents to not
Yeah.
Right.
give your kids unpasteurized products when their immune
Yeah.
system can't
Man.
fight against it. Sometimes people don't want to talk, but we
Right.
always try to reach out to see if they want to share their story. And
Hmm.
I remember this really kind dad called me back and said, I don't know what compelled me to call you because other people also, I mean, that's a reporter's job, right? Something happens and you try to contact the family. And he said, I have a number of other messages
Oh,
on my
so he
machine, but
picked you
compelled. Yeah, and I still think
because of the compassion, I bet, right?
I think
Because
so.
you sounded like you would get
Because you're
I
messages.
did
nice
really
in your
care. And
voice.
and when I was a mom, I thought about that. when I had my little kids, I thought about his daughter and, him, by them sharing their story and their photos, they perhaps reached out to parents who might not know it's not safe to give a
Mm.
toddler unpasteurized juice. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Wow.
I actually
you just
just
can't
learned
change.
that now, and luckily my two daughters made it through, I guess. I don't,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
know, I didn't even know that. So there you go.
So is that
My
what that
parents
guy
raised
meant
us.
by you're too nice? Like as a reporter,
like,
sometimes you have to be really aggressive
yeah.
to get. Oh,
Right.
wow. Have you
And
ever
you,
had to do that to just like
I
pin somebody down?
no, I have a friend who's great at it. She's amazing. I just can't.
Just
I
like,
watch her and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. But those people go on the investigative team. I'm doing,
Mm,
I don't, I mean, I can ask the tough questions. I've had to before.
yeah.
But I write them down and I make sure I'm prepared to ask those questions because, yeah, it's just, we need to get to the truth, of course. And if there's something that someone in the community isn't doing
Yeah.
right, then we need to get those questions. But I'm not, like stomping up to them with a microphone in their face. That's just not my
right,
Is there,
style.
do,
But
right.
I will ask the tough questions that I have at conferences and,
do
but
you
I
have like a dream interviewee? Yeah. Do you have a dream interviewee, somebody that you would really love to ask the questions to?
hmm, I don't know.
Yeah,
Never
I
thought about
mean,
that, huh?
I I listened to Connie Chung's audiobook, and there was definitely some chapters where she said she had to be just a balls out, you
Yeah.
know, m man essentially to make
Mhm.
it in that industry.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's
So
different, I think,
definitely
at the national level. And I've had to
sounded
interview.
very cutthroat and very well male dominated for one
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I think it
So
is at that. I mean, she was in and people always ask. I mean, I've had some friends who work in national network news, and it's faster, um, harder, like more fast paced, probably more
Yeah.
cutthroat than it is at the
would
local
you
level.
want to jump into that
No, I never had
ever?
aspirations.
No,
Oh,
you're
really?
like
No.
Do you have friends and do you have like do you know people like I don't know Anderson Cooper? Like do you know the big wigs
right.
of some of the national
Not
ones?
personally friends with Anderson Cooper, but I have friends that work at the network as reporters. And
Okay.
I mean, the reason I got into journalism was to share important stories in our community, and that's more of a local news angle.
Yeah.
I mean, the national news, they do stories on different communities as well, but um, I used to do a segment called Adopt 8 because my station is Channel 8,
Yeah,
CBS 8.
CBS 8, yeah.
And we helped through that segment place, I think, more than 1,000 foster children in need of
Wow.
forever families with adoptive homes.
That's
Oh,
And
wow.
fantastic.
randomly outside of my work arena, I was at an event with my daughter, and this mom came up to me and said, I know you. She said, you're the reason that we have our son.
Oh,
And
Wow.
wow.
like, what?
That's pretty
And
powerful.
she said, we watch your stories on these kids that are right in our backyard. We thought about adopting internationally, but we can't take the time off work to do that. So we thought, well, we see these stories of kids that need homes in our own backyard. So we signed up for the county and went through the orientation and we adopted an older child and he's our son now because they had two
That's
older daughters.
amazing.
So that, really fills my heart. We don't do those segments anymore, but yeah, more than 1,000 kids that we profiled at my station
Wow.
now
That's some
have.
serious impact.
Yes.
Well, so I mean, speaking of impact, I mean, you are clearly a very humble person, but so as Wayne mentioned, you have tons of Emmys. I guess maybe like a wall full of
Yeah.
Emmys. I don't know. So
Seriously, who has
what
24 Emmys?
Well,
tell us more like
um,
what are they for, and tell us most importantly about
just
the event itself.
a
Like
lot of them
going to
are
the
some of
Emmys.
them are group Emmy awards
Okay.
and they're regional. So we're in the Pacific Southwest region.
Mm,
And I won a few. I won one in Columbus, that region, in Detroit, that
mm,
region. So they have different regions and some of them are group entries for breaking news or spot coverage or group reports. And then a lot of them are also individual awards. And so one of the ones that I'm most proud of is the one I did, a couple of them. One I did on Alzheimer's awareness and sharing the journey that my family and I went on with my mom, who
mm.
was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2019, and she passed away in 2023. And then another one, when I first moved to San Diego, I remember it was May, well, Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. but also it was Chinese New Year actually. And the producer didn't have the story in our newscast. And I said, oh, can we put, because in Hong Kong, there's always fireworks and celebrations. And I said, can
Oh
we add
yeah.
that to our rundown? And the producer's like, oh, I don't really have time in the show. And so we didn't acknowledge it. And then fast forward 2 decades, my
Mm.
bosses had us do a whole series of 12 of them during Asian
Oh,
American
wow.
Pacific Island Heritage Month in 2022. Yeah, 3 years ago. And it made me so proud. And I was kind of the
Yeah.
coordinator of all of our coverage. And we focused on the different AAPI communities in San Diego.
Wow.
And we did like a whole magazine program with all the different stories, and they aired in our newscast, and they were long format. And so we won a couple of awards for that too, a group entry and then an individual award.
That's
Wow.
For the
amazing.
more recent ones, but just through the years, a lot of times it's hard to, because a lot of times they're for traumatic things. Um, Mass shootings,
Mm.
fire coverage. We don't cover a whole lot of happy things. I mean, we do, but we also cover a lot of traumatic things. And so it's not like you want to be like, oh, I won an Emmy Award for the, fatal shooting in the,
Yeah, I know.
like it just
Like
feels
remind people
wrong
of
to
serial killers or
be proud
things
of
like
that,
that.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's not something you want to, boast about. But
But I mean, you saw the progress over the years where that they wouldn't even slip it in
Yeah.
the
yeah,
promo, and
no,
then
I think we've come a
when
really
it's
long
serious.
way. And the thing that I like about the Emmy Awards is that you're judged by your peers. So it's people in other regions that are judging your work.
Mm.
And it's like you can't fool the people that are doing the same job you're doing.
Yeah, that's
They
Mm,
right.
yeah.
either know that, they know how much it takes and how much work it takes to produce the content that you're entering. And so I feel like it's like an honor to be nominated by your peers because they know exactly what it is that you're up against, the challenges you're up against, and telling the stories and gathering the interviews and
Yeah.
covering those
D-
moments.
Who
Now,
does
do you actually
nominates?
have
Yeah. Do you
it's
nominate others too? Like
I
everyone
have been a
gets a
judge,
ballot?
yeah. Hmm.
Oh,
I've
okay.
watched other stations' entries, and we actually just got a slew of nominations come in on Friday night, like 3 nights ago. So,
Congrats. That's awesome.
thanks. So yeah, maybe I'll
Yeah.
make it
wow.
a 25
Exciting.
as
So,
well.
so do you actually have like a trophy room? It's a physical trophy, I take it. And do you
Yeah.
have a place to display it all?
Hmm. There's
Yeah, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's cool. So you bring like your friends, hey, come into this room. I
It's like
have some
buried in the
stuff on the
side. It's
wall.
like a side room that we use my husband uses as a man cave.
Too
There.
humble, too
That's so cool
humble.
though. The trophy wall is super cool. Well, cool. So let's see. So let's talk a bit more about your Asian side. So you're married to a husband. So you guys are both Chinese, you
Hmm.
and your
Yeah.
husband. Okay. And so did you have any when you were growing up? Did you have any thoughts that you would go into actually being on TV? And did your parents sort of say, "Don't do that," or "Do whatever you want"?
I
How's your
grew up
upbringing?
in a suburb of Detroit, Metro Detroit, and it
Mm,
was a very white community. In my school, I think there were only three of us who were Asian, three or
mm,
four, in all of my high school. So I I felt like, there's that term banana that we all talk about, like
Yeah,
bananas,
yep.
definitely. I've
like,
Yep.
definitely
and I
lived
feel
it.
like
I probably am it. Yeah.
most of my life, I was raised in a, yeah, very non-diverse community. And then when I met my husband through at a like years after graduation at a graduation dinner for a mutual friend, um, I don't know, he just seemed so nice. And so we started talking, and then we went to dim sum the next day. And it just seemed really natural. And it was nice to, like, I remember when we were first dating, we were running late and we had to take a cab. We were in New York. And in Chinese, I said, give this guy a real big tip because
Oh, right. Yeah.
taxi driver was like
Shafe.
getting us to it. Yeah, yeah. And so it's been wonderful. I didn't experience a whole lot of racism growing up. We did a
Mm,
story
Oh,
in
that's nice.
2021 about your experience with racism. And so I kind of had to sit and think back. There were a couple instances when I was like 8 or 9. I had a girl in a gymnastics class tell me that like everyone had just gone to spring break and they're in their leotards and everyone was showing like how tan they were from Florida.
Okay.
mm.
And so then I said, "Oh, now you guys are my skin color." Because everyone
Yeah.
And this one girl pulled away and said, "My mom told me not to touch people with your skin color." And
Oh, wow.
I remember
Whoa.
thinking to myself, that's so
What?
you just went to Florida to get tan, and now
Yeah.
you're,
No.
you're like my
Don't touch
color, but you
people
don't want
of
to.
your skin
With
color.
my skin color. Yeah, it was weird. And then another incident at a summer camp, a boy pulled on my hoop earrings and did the ching chong.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Um,
If you
and
grew up
really,
Asian in America and don't hear ching chong at some times
yeah.
or eyes pulled back, I think that would be
yeah.
impossible.
So, but it was
Has to at
just
least happen
very
once.
few and far between.
But
I
see,
never,
what's amazing, right? I mean, but you remember those
I
It
do.
incidences,
I
sticks in your
right?
remember
mind.
And
them.
it sticks because I'll remember some incidences that happened in elementary school. And
Right.
everything else is kind of a blur, but I'll remember the time, when you get called, ching chong or
Right.
something.
And what I love about having raised my kids here in San Diego, because they were both born here, I have twins, is that they grew up in such a diverse community, and that's where we live now. And we have friends who are Asian, we have friends who are white, we have friends who are every
Yeah.
nationality, or not nationality, but ethnicity,
Yeah. Yeah.
religion, like every just a big melting pot. It really is
Do you
here.
feel like that dilutes, though, your sort of Chinese culture? Are you and your husband still pretty Chinese? Do you at least speak, it sounds like.
We don't speak to each other unless we don't want our kids, that's one regret. My kids are 19, their first year at college, and if I could do life over, I would have made sure that they learn Chinese, but
Yeah.
we didn't speak it in the house. And
Okay. And they
so
don't know it at all.
they don't. So if my husband
Okay.
and I want to talk about them, then we speak Chinese. But
Yeah.
otherwise we don't. We don't really.
Wow. So what about the cultural stuff? Do you guys take them back, the homeland,
We
that
don't
kind of
really
thing?
have any family there anymore.
Okay. So they're purely American then. They're just straight up
Yeah.
Americans. They don't have a
They
Chinese background
are.
to them.
But their friend
Yeah.
group, in high school, at least, was very Asian, like a lot of
Mhm.
Oh,
Asian.
interesting. They were
And my mom
talented.
spoke really good English.
Oh,
So I remember when my daughter would have her friends over, and my mom would be like, "Oh, how was your day at school?" They just like, "Oh wow,
oh,
your
they're like
grandma speaks Chinese or
so
speaks
good.
Without
English."
an accent? Yeah, that's
Yeah, she
crazy.
spoke English really well. So
Is she first generation or second?
no, she moved into the United States in her 20s to go to school.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow. So then when you decided you wanted to be a journalist on TV, that kind of, she was just like, hey, that's cool. Do what you want.
My dad was from Hawaii, so he was Americanized already. And my
Mm.
parents said, "We'll give you 5 years. If you don't succeed 5 years after graduating, you have to get a higher paying job." Because my first job was $5 an hour. And they said,
$5 an
"And you have to
Nice.
live that long on that."
Yeah.
So
What
That's
about
funny.
they were so
what did you picture your husband to be when you were growing up? Did you think you
I
would
thought I would
marry a
marry, yeah,
white
I did.
guy?
I would marry
Yeah, right.
someone
Because
Caucasian.
that's
Yeah.
all that was around you.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
and so
That's
did you
what Wayne thought too,
date white
because
guys?
Wayne
No,
grew up,
I totally grew up thinking
yeah,
there's no
but
way I'm marrying an Asian girl, but I
until
ended
he moved to
up,
California.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I always thought my kids would look, well, at the time I guess we called them Amerasian, now they call them Wasian.
Papa
Like my kids
or
will learn
Yeah,
Wasian.
Wasian. Yeah,
Asians.
Wasian is the big one now. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I pictured my kids, totally pictured them the
Me
Wasian look.
too. Me too. Yeah.
And
But
totally
it's been
That's
nice.
fits.
funny.
Yeah, there is something culturally, when you hang out with people who are also Asian, there's just like something that's just understood. You don't have to
More,
talk.
yeah, something
Yeah,
slightly more
yeah.
comfortable or something.
You said earlier, Marcella,
Yeah.
you had a good story to tell us and had to do with your son. Now that we're kind of talking about your family. Do you want to
Oh,
throw that in here
yes.
now? Is it
Yeah.
So,
related?
um, so every day I have a million things to do, and so I kind of just do life like the day before or the day. Like I emceed an event Friday night for the San Diego Food Bank, and we had a script, and so I just took time that day to read. I just kind of. So then today I looked at my calendar. I was like, "Oh, it's the day for the podcast." So let me read
Yeah.
this email that you guys sent me back in April, so many weeks ago. And so I was reading about the two of you, and then because I just, the Coder Bros, right?
The
That's all I
Coder
see,
Bros.
Coder Bros. But then I was
That's
reading
us.
the Coder Bros, it's you. But then I was reading more, so then you gave some suggestions so then I was clicking on the links, and then I saw that you guys started this company called the Coder School. And I was
Yeah.
like,
That's
oh,
right. Yeah.
Does that sound familiar?
that sounds so familiar. And
No
so I
way.
go to my email and I find that I was like, wait, is that where my son went to his class?
Yeah, he actually went there like back in the day.
And then I was like, yep, that's right there. Because you had your,
No, that's why he got into the
and
best
then
university in
20
America.
2019, it says, welcome to the coder school for my
Oh
son.
man,
So
2019. Wow.
yeah, and here, I'm
That's
gonna invite him
hilarious.
in real quick.
He
So
Hello.
got
this
into
is
U of
Case,
M, the best. Hello.
right?
Hey
And
man,
I said, Case, I'm gonna be on a podcast with the two guys who started the coding school that you went to for 4 years of your
You
life.
went there.
I
That's
want you to
awesome.
meet them.
Yeah, I was like, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah.
But you learned so much, didn't you? It was a great
Yeah, it was a
program
great
There's
program.
three of them now. Which one
in
did
San
you
Diego.
go? Yeah,
The
there's
North County, San Diego is.
Marcel was the
yeah,
yeah,
Marcel.
sure. He's still the
owner.
guy.
Marcel, such a great owner.
That's pretty
Great
cool. And
guy.
now you're CS, are you in CS at Michigan?
I'm in electrical engineering, but yeah, I've taken some CS.
Whoa, I was a double E too.
Good,
That's
good
Okay.
for you, man.
Yes.
that's
Good for
amazing.
you. And I hear from your mom that you're pretty much full on American. You're pretty much not Chinese.
Yeah, that's basically
Yeah. So
it.
if you have to tip a cab driver, you can't secretly say,
Yeah.
do you have tip to your, other
Probably
person?
His
not.
girlfriend speaks Chinese though, so I want him to learn.
Oh, okay. At least
Do,
learn a couple
do you have
things.
any regret at all for not speaking Chinese, do you think,
I
at this
actually
age?
do. I mean, I
Yeah. Okay. Good for you. Good for
It's
you.
not
I
too
didn't
late.
have, yeah, it's never too late. I'm learning it now. I didn't have regret until I was like 45. Then I regretted not learning more Chinese. So the more Chinese you can learn now, the better. Take some classes at Michigan.
that's what they were saying. Like,
You can do
That's
but
like,
true.
can't you do this observation type of thing? Like where you just sit in the back and
yeah, I could probably audit a class or
oh yeah.
just take it. But
If you just, at your age, you're so young, you could probably find some way where you get a job, go live somewhere in China or Taiwan. You just learn it in 2 seconds. I never did, and I don't know it.
You
Yeah.
still
Um,
don't?
I'm at the just couple words, shall fei,
Oh
I have a
yeah.
couple very small vocabulary.
But I just thought it'd
Yeah.
be cool for you guys. I just want to acknowledge you
That is
for
so
I
your
appreciate
cool.
that.
That
business
is really
idea
cool.
that you don't know how many, thousands multiplied of kids and families have learned coding because of your school,
Yeah.
including my son, which I learned, 4 hours ago.
That is so funny.
But it's
That's
really
That's
helped
amazing.
him.
awesome. Yeah. Well, appreciate your a couple minutes jumping on the podcast.
yeah, it was a good
Yeah, really
opportunity.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Right on. So then I guess I was, related to your son a little bit. You're both your sons. I was going to ask you, you mentioned that you worked a lot of sort of this, the prime hours, three to midnight kind of thing, was that during, from when they were growing up to, almost went off to school? That was your
Yeah,
schedule?
it was. And so when they were little, it was great because I was home with them most of the day and I could take them to the gymnastics or the karate classes because I was home
Hmm.
till 3. And then pretty much my husband just had to feed them dinner and put them to bed. But then as they got into the school years, it was hard because I wasn't home a lot after school. We didn't have family dinners. I couldn't do the carpool things. But um, once the iPhone was invented and it was what, 2007 or yeah, we would FaceTime once in a while, but I missed like my daughter's first steps and all
Mm,
the things because I was at work, but we made it work. And so we
yeah.
just made time. I had Thursdays and Fridays off because I worked weekends when I first got here. So I would have time with them on those 2 days.
Yeah, I guess when you're
Very
in
lot
a
of
in an
walks.
industry like that, sometimes you're kind of locked into certain hours, and you got to make your decisions on whether you do your family or whether you continue the career stuff. Cool. Well, do you have any sort of regrets at all, or do you think that was the way it should have been?
Yeah.
I think that everyone, I'm sure, has their own challenges and sacrifices. And so they're
Yeah.
not unique. And as a family, you just kind of make it work, whatever it is that you have to do. Some people have to work a couple jobs. You just kind of, you
Yeah.
make it work and we survived. And my
Yeah,
kids,
and
I was saying like, because my husband is not an enabler at all. And so by me not being home all those years, I think actually made them more prepared to go off to college and be independent. Like they've been doing their own laundry since they were like 10 or
Oh
11 because I
yeah.
yeah,
didn't
that's
have
true.
time. So um,
I was
they
gonna
both,
say they turn out great. I mean, and also not that this is any indicating factor, but they go to two really top schools, Michigan and Berkeley. Like, you can't get a lot better than
Yeah.
that. So
And the
they turn
coder
out awesome.
school. I mean,
And the
and
three
the
coder
top
coder
school.
school.
schools.
Yeah.
Coder school, go blue, and go Bears. So
Yeah.
yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
No, it's been, I think life looks different and I did carry a lot of mom's guilt for a while, but seeing them, my son's home now from his first year at Michigan. My daughter will be coming home in a couple weeks and I think it was probably better for all of us that I wasn't home every day being like, did you do this? Did you do that? Let me see this. I'm going to double check that. Like I just was,
Yep.
and my husband's not that type of person. So probably it was best so that I just,
Yeah.
they could kind of not have me being some overbearing big mom. Because
It all
I
worked
couldn't
out in the
just
end.
because he at my job. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think
wow.
I
Well,
think
and
it's
so we're running a little bit out of time, but we wanted to ask you a little bit more about, you mentioned you kind of being a sandwich generation, working with your kids, but then also your mom living with you for a while. But then unfortunately she had a little bit, sounds like, of Alzheimer's. Can you talk
yeah.
about that experience a bit?
It was really challenging, especially with me working full time. Fortunately, my husband has been working from home, so he was able to help. But I try, it's hard for a lot of us to ask for help. And my kids also pitched in, but we have a really great organization called Alzheimer's San Diego here where we live, and it has a lot of free resources. It has music therapy, art therapy, where you can take your loved one in and get support. They have social workers, they run group therapy sessions, and I did one of those virtually during COVID. And it just makes you feel a lot less alone when you can share your story or hear other people's stories who are going through the same thing. Because I will say that when you have a loved one with Alzheimer's or dementia, it can get very frustrating. And
Mhm.
you have to repeat yourself over and over because
Oh
they don't
yeah, it
remember.
is
And
literally the same question that comes up. Or where's my purse? Was my mom's. And
right.
it's just like, is my purse with me? And it's like,
And you're busy
yeah.
and you're trying to go through your life and do it. And you
Mm.
just sometimes lose your patience. And
Mm-hmm.
it makes you feel a little bit more um, human and less badly when you know that other people are going through it and that it's normal to feel frustrated and to, I'm sure I yelled at my mom, Mom, how can you not remember? In the very
No, I
beginning.
know. Exactly.
And so that's become I guess just a blessing that I have this platform called, local TV news, and I have a great station who has supported me in sharing our journey. And then through sharing and opening up about my family story and our struggle and how much it helped once we did reach out for support. Um, how many other people have given me feedback that it inspired them to also reach out for help and support to find a support group or a caregiver or some
Yeah.
respite care for their loved one because you can't do it alone. You will drive
Yeah.
yourself crazy um, because it's a really hard disease to live with someone who suffers from Alzheimer's or dementia. It's
Yeah. And you mentioned also that you won an award of some sort. Is it from doing this stuff onto the news, or is it the platform? Or tell us about that.
I think just yeah, by sharing our story. And then my daughter actually, oh, here's when I was in grade school, there was a group of girls who were Girl Scouts. And every Friday, because I went to a Catholic school where we wore those plaid uniforms, every
Hmm.
Friday the Girl
Mm-hmm.
Scouts got to wear their Girl Scout uniforms. And I remember feeling very isolated and wondering why I couldn't be a Girl Scout and why they were special. And later I find out it's my mom's like, I'm not going camping. Like I'm not, she's not
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Outdoors,
Like,
yeah.
no,
I'm
we're
not
not
doing
doing
that.
that. Like that
I'm not
wasn't her.
outdoorsy.
And
Yeah.
I realized like you don't have to be invited. I thought it was this exclusive club and that we just weren't invited. And later, of course, when I'm not 8 or 10 years old, I find out that anyone can join Girl Scouts. And
Yeah.
the minute I had a daughter, I was like, you're going to join Girl Scouts. So when she's 5 years old, I was like, you're going to be a Girl Scout. And I made her be a Girl Scout in the beginning. And then she kind of journeyed through it on her own. But for her Gold Award project, she did something that spoke to her and she created these Alzheimer's conversation starter
Oh,
cards.
wow.
And so
Hmm.
she did a lot of research on how to word the questions and
Wow.
this little pack. Oh, here is one right here. I know we're on a podcast and it's not a visual medium,
It's
but
not a visual, so
it's
if
a
people
heart
listening,
card,
she went
the
and
deck of cards, basically 52 questions that you can
Oh,
play with
cool.
it's mainly for grandkids to talk to their grandparents, but they found that their volunteers were using
oh
these with
man.
their clients and finding out more. They're just some cute questions like, what can you tell me about your first date?
Hmm.
And what kind of food
Yeah, no,
you
my
like?
daughters needed that deck of cards. I mean,
That's
because
what,
my mom lived with us, and so, we were at the dinner table all the time. And I would just try to tell my daughters, like, you've got to, make grandma laugh one time, through dinner. But they needed that deck of cards because I would try to have them interface. And I mean, grandma had dementia, so
right.
it's a little of that you literally, it's hard to have a conversation. But I think that deck of cards would have been really just nice to try
Well,
to get her talking.
what my daughter said she realized was that when she talked about my mom's past, that she would suddenly remember things.
Right, right.
So she did say she wishes that she could have used the cards with my grandma or with her grandma because she made these after my mom passed away. But the feedback has been great. And just to know that my mom, as you can tell, I like to talk. My mom liked to talk too. And it's the fact that the cards are helping spark conversation from people's past, which is where it's the last of their memory to go.
Hmm.
And it has been really helping with connections between the volunteers, because they have volunteers that go out to people's homes once a week, spend about 4 hours with them just to kind of provide respite for the family. And it's been helping adults too. It's not just for grandkids. So it's become a neat. So just that my mom kind of she's very happy and smiled a lot, was full of joy, and that her legacy now lives on in the work at Alzheimer's San Diego and by us sharing our platform. So they did give me just a couple of days ago their Visionary of the Year award, which I didn't tell anybody about because I was kind of humbled.
It sounds huge. Visionary of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, visionary. That's a
Which
big word.
I said was ironic because going into it, I was very blind. I kind of wanted to ignore the diagnosis because, you think of your parent as the strong person. My mom had gone to law school, like she was super strong and smart. And then to see her become a shell of herself was really difficult. But when you do reach out and ask for that help, it just opens up so many doors for you because then you can function better as a human when you have that assistance and that help. And it's neat for me to see how my kids living with that experience, how it's affected them too.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, well, congrats. I mean, on not just that, but it's just you're such an impactful person overall. Like so many things that you have said, today. It's
And so
in
nice.
fact, so many
Almost
people.
too nice.
Almost too nice.
Right? I'm never
nice.
going to succeed in anything.
Yeah, you'll
that's
never
right.
succeed. You're too
Too
nice.
nice to do it.
Yeah, and I've been
Wow.
thinking about that question you asked me that stumped me earlier about who would I like to interview. I don't really know. Like maybe Oprah. I don't know. She's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good one. I mean,
That is a good
I
one.
think that's
Nobody
top of the
ever
charts.
interviews
Well,
her.
Who I've been listening to a lot lately is Mel Robbins. I really like her journey and her
Who's Mel
story.
Robbins? I don't think I know her.
She's
Mel
a lot of women listen to her. She's like talks about how you can just be a better person.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
all, that's all that we
Cool.
want
It's like
to
the
do,
Tony
right?
Robbins, but the female version.
That's what my husband said. He's like,
Yeah.
Tony Robbins? I'm like, no, Mel Robbins.
Yeah, I know. I'm like Mel Robbins. Okay,
Said the same
Tony
thing. He's
Robbins,
like,
I've heard
I
of.
had her on
but-
my audiobook. He's like, who are you listening to? I'm like, Mel Robbins. He's like, I thought he was a guy.
Yeah, I thought that was a guy, man. Tony Robbins, man.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, wait.
Like,
Let's.
I just was gonna say, I feel like we're all on this earth for such a short period of time. And so, it's like whatever we can do to bring light into the world and make the world a better place. And I think you guys are doing that with your podcast. So thanks for having me on. It's been a big pleasure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's so cool to talk to somebody like you that not only has had so much impact, but is just so easy to talk to and have done so many different, awesome, cool things that Wayne and I would never do.
Yeah, exactly. Or
So-
could never do.
Probably
Yeah.
the coolest thing I did was a couple years ago, I flew with the Blue Angels.
Wow.
Ooh, dang.
How you mean like in one of
Like
In the-
Tom Cruise
yes.
level, right?
Yes,
Like Tom
yes.
Cruise in the actual jet.
Yeah, it was really cool. I got it.
Was that related to you being an anchor? They just
Yeah,
invited-
and
they
also
invited
my
you?
dad was he had served in the military in both a active duty and civilian capacity for like 50 years. So
Wow.
they came to they come every year the Miramar Air Show and they only can choose one person. And so we
They
all
let you go.
and they picked me because
That's
of my family's
amazing. Wow.
military
I
history.
feel like you
Yeah, I
have
was
so
really
many of
nervous.
these things that
I was
as well
very
that you haven't
nervous.
told.
So I
bet.
would love to do that because that would just be, you can't even experience it and you can't even buy something like that. But like I do get motion sickness. Where would that lie? Like,
I put that little patch on the behind my ear
And that saved you?
okay.
and that saved me. Yeah, I was able to I didn't
Do you get motion
Oh.
sickness though at all?
I do.
Okay.
There you go,
So-
Wayne. There's your solution.
Okay.
So, yeah,
If I ever
yeah,
am
you can do it.
invited,
You can do it.
I'm gonna do it.
You
Patch.
can do it. Yeah.
So let's wrap up this podcast with your awesome life tip, Marcella. What would you like to tell everybody is your tip?
I think that, you know, if someone tells you you can't do something, don't listen to them, right? Because allegedly I was too nice to be a
Yeah,
successful
yeah.
journalist. And also, never be afraid to ask the question, because if you don't ask, you'll just end up where you are right now, right? But if you do ask, the worst thing that can happen is that you just end up where you are right now. But if you do ask and something good comes of it, then perhaps that will open up new doors for you or new opportunities. So I always try to tell my kids, because I feel like kids are like, oh, I don't want to ask, or I don't want
Yep.
to.
Yeah, they don't.
Like,
Yeah,
you
for
just
sure.
have to put yourself out there and ask the question, or, pursue the opportunity, because if nothing happens, there's no harm, no foul. But maybe something good could happen.
That's awesome.
Great
Perfect
tip.
advice coming from a journalist like yourself. It fits right in.
Thanks. Well, thank you
Awesome.
guys.
Well, cool. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. It's been such a pleasure. Congrats on everything you've done, finding your castle, finding many more, and doing so many cool things with your life.
And
Yeah,
thanks for
thank
finding your
you.
castle. All right. Have a great day.
We are sponsored by none other than the Coder School, a company that teaches kids how to code with over 70 locations all around the country. So if you're interested in getting your kids to code, head online and check us out. Learn to code, change the world. Thanks for listening.